Watch. This is to be a pattern for all of us who are here. Let me start by, you can obviously see the title, Are Your Children Spiritual Teachers? So this is something that keeps coming up with my clients this week. And so I wanted to just discuss it while I'm on the bike doing my low-level cardio, healing my heart. Um, the physical aspect of my heart. I don't have my glasses on, as always, so if you write a comment, you're going to have to write a lot of them because I'll miss them. So I want to start this first little topic, this first idea from a quote by Khalil Gibran from the book The Prophet. And he says, "Your children will not be your children. They are the sons and daughters of the beginning. They will come through your womb, but not be coming from you. They will be with you, but they do not belong to you." So that, I'm sure, from the parents that are listening, I myself am not a parent, so this is going to be unsolicited advice, just more of a spiritual perspective of your children. You're going to say, well, what the F am I a parent for then, right? Why would I possibly be a parent if they don't belong to me, if I'm not supposed to be their guide, etc., etc.? Let me just change this really quick. And I did not say you're not going to be their guide. That's a beautiful part of being a parent, is you, this young person before you, is of you, right? They will be coming through your womb, but not be coming from you. And so what he's saying in that is that the essence of who your child is a spiritual being, is a soul, an aspect of spirit, an extension of spirit, a finger. My hand is spirit. Your child is one of those fingers, and that spirit will come through and learn to experience through the eyes and senses of a body, so that they can take that information, knowledge, and return to the source, return to God. What a beautiful process that is. But lately, this week, I've been having quite a few conversations with my clients who are parents, and they're having such difficulties, but there's this inability to accept. So it kind of goes back to yesterday's live where we talked about accepting others who won't accept you. This is a little different with kids, right? Your children. Because you're always going to love your kids. You may not always like them. Right? I hear that a lot. I don't really like my kid right now. Doesn't mean I don't always like my kid, but I don't like my kid right now, but I really love them. I deeply love them and cherish them. And I know who they can be. And so I think with parenting, a lot of times what I'm hearing is I see my kids and I know who these kids can be, and they're not showing me that version of themselves. And so in that regards, you suffer. The expectation reduces the joy. The expectation of your child being something other than who they are causes you to suffer. And so when we always, in these lives right now, especially in my life, I've been finding so much balance. So I have it in my water bottle. So the aspects of your child that you see as bad or good, wanted or unwanted, likable or unlikable, are still just aspects of them. It doesn't mean that's who they are, because who they really are is the totality, right? They are this expression of God in physical form. And so as part of that, there's going to be this dance that we get to participate in with our children, which is you get to be both guardian and they will be your guardian later in life, right? You guard them early, they guard you later. You are their teacher, they are your teacher. They are your students, you are their student. It's this polarity and understanding, all right, my kid is being kind of a stinker right now, really irritating me. I'm not having a great time being their dad or mom. And so in those moments, it's hard. Obviously, I'm not a parent. But recognizing I will still love this child because this child is not just a child. This child in physical form actually happens to be this beautiful master teacher that has the ability to teach me so much about myself and remind me about things of the world that I'd forgotten, that I had hardened myself to. So that's this beautiful aspect of youth, is the wonder and the magic that comes from the imagination and the heart of the child, to help remind you of the importance of going back within yourself and being open and free, even though you have these responsibilities. That's the paradox. I have to take care of these children. I have to make sure that they don't get sick. I have to make sure they don't get hurt. I have to make sure that they grow up into these fully functioning adults. I have to make sure that they're successful. And so what that ends up happening is this idea of control. It's the grasping. It's the holding on to what is desired and not allowing the flow of their own experience to move as they are choosing. So instead of, as parents, this is just my unsolicited advice, right, from a spiritual perspective, instead of trying to control the outcome, no matter how bad you want it, the experience must be for them to learn the lessons that their soul has come forward wanting to learn. Ooh, that's a rough one, right? Accepting that my child is going to have to suffer a little bit in order for them to grow and expand through the contrast of life and learn. Through unwanted situations, we automatically grow, right? And so the suffering really is just the grasping of wanting a situation to be a specific way that it is not right now. I just got an email. Sorry, I'm looking at my email. And so the situation is this reminding me, okay, right now my kid is suffering with something in their own life, in their own mind. And so when that situation arises, I'm sure those of you who are parents, and I'm sure you're good because you're watching this, you're a wonderful parent, and you go, I want to reduce the suffering of my child. I don't want them. I can feel the mirror neurons in my brain are going off and sending these alarm signals. I want my child to be free. I want my child to be like in a state of pure bliss and joy at all times. Wow, what a good reminder. How good of teachers are they that they get to cause you to desire nothing but goodness for them, and then you can extend that towards others too. Wow, what a great teacher, right? Your student is this master spiritual teacher. But in those moments, not saying, well, I'm just going to let them suffer, child. It's learning to find that balance, going back to the yin and the yang, of course, like always, of I have to let them have their experience while simultaneously offering any type of service or guidance to them to reduce that suffering, to also be a teacher for them. So if I'm a parent and I'm giving this suggestion, which I'm not a parent, but I'm giving this suggestion, I would go forward and go, okay, well, what is my child demonstrating right now that I can learn from, and I can also be in service to them? How can I let them live out their own experience, especially when a child starts wanting to make their decision? Mom, Dad, let me do it. Let me do it. I want to do it myself. I want to do it myself. Let me do it myself. We all laugh at that, but it's so important because words don't teach, only life experience teaches. And so through their life experience, they need to continually have these engagements, these divine appointments at times with other people who are going to cause chaos in their lives, with other situations and circumstances that are going to cause chaos in their lives. And through those situations, they're going to have this beautiful expanded growth. We can just think about it in our own lives. As an adult, what were the times that were so much fun that you consistently talk about? Oftentimes they're a little chaotic, they're a little crazy, and they make great stories, and you lived through them. Sometimes the best stories also go along the lines of, I suffered deeply for months and years, but I came out so much better for it. I understood so much more about life after I experienced that. I experienced so much more about myself. I understood how to be more compassionate, how to be more kind, how to be more loving, how to be more grateful. That's what makes a really good story. And so, from a parental perspective, having that awareness that you're lending to the story of your child's soul, that can take a lot of stress off of your shoulders, rather than wanting to control the outcome of their life, wanting them to be successful, wanting them to be happy, wanting them to be whatever it is that they're not now showing you. That's going to definitely increase your stress, because you, in the lack of acceptance of the moment, we can't possibly go to another stage of growth of life if we can't let go of what was. So those moments are just temporary as a parent when the kid is suffering, and you lend your heart to them, right? And you say to them in the midst of suffering, you say to yourself, you don't have to say this to them, but you say this to yourself, that there's so much good in the world, but I have to accept in the duality of this reality, yes, this too, right? When negative things are occurring, I must accept, yes, and this too. This is part of the soul's curriculum. I love that term, the soul's curriculum. So these children, their soul is expanding through each suffering experience. You lend your love, you lend your support, right? You surround them with all of that. Let them know that you're there. And also let them fulfill that role that is for their soul. Let them fulfill that curriculum, that part of the lesson that gets them to be a wiser, kinder, more loving, stronger individual, right? I like this. It kind of goes along the same lines with the quote. When you ask the divine for strength, do you think the divine just gives you strength? Or do you think it puts you in situations that are going to cultivate strength? When you want to be more faithful, do you think the divine just gives you faith? Or do you think it puts you in situations and circumstances that are going to help you develop more faith? And so by having that perspective with our children, you recognize, oh, you are this beautiful master soul that I just can't recognize right now. I can't see it, unfortunately, and that's my work. It's not my work to change the circumstances so that we both feel better, even though I want to. It's my work as your guardian, as your guide, to ensure that you fulfill your reason for being a physical being. You fulfill your soul's journey. You fulfill your soul's curriculum, and I can only do that by allowing you to have the experiences that your soul has come forward to choose. And then you say, well, how do I know it's a curriculum for their soul, Zach? How come I just can't fix it? How come I can't just change their circumstances? And only you will know that through going within yourself and asking yourself, is it necessary for me right now to change their circumstances? Is this going to benefit them in the long run? Am I going to be able to support them and love them through this experience while also letting them grow and change as a result of this undesirable situation? That's not for me to decide. That's for you to answer. The way you will know is by closing your eyes, putting your hand on your heart, and asking yourself that question. Do I need to interfere in this particular experience? Maybe, maybe not. Do I need to step in at this time? Maybe, maybe not. You have to use your own discernment and your own communication from your own heart, from your own intuition, to come to that conclusion. Nobody can answer that for you except for you. But if you're struggling because you can't let go of control and control of the outcome for your children, then you are just going to keep suffering. They're suffering and you're suffering. And you say, well, that's the job of a parent, right? And maybe, I don't know. But the job of a guardian, a spirit guide, we can call it a spirit guide. If you look at yourself as a spirit guide isn't a spirit do it for you. So they're called spirit guides. It's a spirit guide. The spirit do it for yous don't exist. Sometimes they're called parents. We can say that. The spirit do it for yous are called parents. At least the good ones, the ones watching. But you are a guide, a support system, to enable their growth, their progress. You have to start looking at your kids as souls, not just these little tiny creatures that are ineffective at living their lives, because that will not allow those kids to grow into these beautiful butterflies. The parable of the butterfly it's perfect for this. The mother, or there's a woman, outside her window, she sees a caterpillar developing a chrysalis, a cocoon. And she's so excited. She goes, oh God, I'm going to get to see this beautiful butterfly, or this beautiful, caterpillar turning this gorgeous butterfly. I'm so excited. It's right there in front of my eyes. And so day by day, she's waiting, and she just sees the chrysalis sitting there, till eventually one day, she sees cracks starting to happen in the chrysalis. And she gets so excited. She's like, oh my God, I get to see this beautiful. I get to see the transformation. I'm so excited. So a few hours later, cracks a little bit more. A few hours later, it cracks a little bit more. She starts getting worried, right? She's like, man, this should have happened faster. I think the time that a chrysalis is supposed to break, a cocoon is supposed to break, is pretty quickly. So she goes, you know what? I'll just give it another hour. If I don't see anything, I'm just going to peel back the cocoon a little bit. So an hour later, cocoon's not broken open. She peels it back. Doesn't see a lot of progress. Goes back half an hour later. I'm just going to peel it back a little bit more. Eventually, she peels the whole chrysalis open, barely letting the butterfly open. And when she finally looks out of her window and she sees, oh, it's open, she sees that the caterpillar has not fully emerged into a butterfly, that the butterfly's wings are too weak because it was necessary to strengthen those butterflies' wings to push through the chrysalis, to push through the cocoon. And so what ends up happening, she watches the butterfly die right there because it could never fly away. And that is the perfect story for a parent. It's the perfect parable for a parent. There are times when there is encouragement, support, guidance needed, oftentimes, especially when the kids are young. We know that, right? You can't just be like a neglectful parent. You watching this, you're very likely not a neglectful parent. But then there's also times in life, more frequently than I think we like to realize and recognize and accept, that we have to let that beautiful butterfly expand and break free itself. And so in that times, maybe it's best to just step back and be a coach and to give them words of encouragement, to remind them that I'm here with you. And maybe I'll give you a little crack. But in order for you to be the best butterfly ever, in order for me to allow nature to fulfill its course, for your soul to fulfill its journey and expansion and lessons, I must take my hands off, I must surrender, and I must trust in you that you can do it yourself, right? That's a huge one for parents. I need to trust in you, little divine being, that you have the capacity to do it for yourself. I would never neglect you and remove the growth that you are supposed to experience because of my own fears and insecurities. Ooh, that hits deep, right? I will never, ever remove your ability to grow and expand and become the beautiful butterfly that you are supposed to be because I'm afraid that you won't fulfill your purpose. Right? When you really look deep, you can find that. I know I can find that And I'm trying to help people, and I get so frustrated that the people I'm trying to help just aren't changing. And then I think of the story of the butterfly, and I think, well, I can only do so much. I give my support, I give my guidance, I give my presence, sometimes just listening. But it's not up to me to make the change. It's up to me to be the support system to enable the change. So if I'm supporting there, I've given you the container. You know I'm here. You know you have my support. And the only reason that it's not coming to fulfillment, it's not because I'm not supporting you enough. It's because the lesson has not been learned yet. The curriculum has not been completed. And so, as parents, as friends, we have to accept this beautiful little divine being who knows so much, who has infinite wisdom, and who has not yet allowed themselves to forget that infinite wisdom as I have because I was learning from the world. I'm not going to remove that from them. I'm going to let them keep that wonder, that peace, that sense of hopefulness. And I'm going to let them make their choices. And I'm also, when they refuse to acknowledge the lessons that are coming forward in their life, whether that be hanging out with the wrong friend, making the wrong choices, talking back, I get to also set the container space and say, hey, as your guide, as your loving guide, knowing that you have all the wisdom within you, I'm not going to take it away from you, but this is my perspective on this situation, right? And when it goes against the core values, you could say, of your own heart, you can then express, hey, I can see that you're hurting. I can see that there's something going on here. And the only way that we're going to fulfill this together is by you communicating with me. So I'm going to be here to support you. I love you. And yet, I won't keep getting punched in the face. You can't keep punching me in the face. I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to see you as this worthy, divine, beautiful being in my mind. I know your potential. I know that you have all of the faculties to fulfill your spiritual journey. And knowing that, I won't enable you, and I will support you with every bit of me. And that's that. Right? So that's my suggestions from a spiritual perspective on children, especially when you're struggling, especially when the kid's life is changing and your life is changing and you're trying to find balance. 2 of you are trying to find balance. 3 of you, 5 of you are trying to find balance. Having that perspective, reminding yourself that this beautiful 2-year-old, 7-year-old, 15-year-old, 18-year-old, 25-year-old, that's still an extension of God. And I love you so much that I will not restrict your growth because I know you are capable of these things. And I will constantly tell you that. And I will also see you as that fully in my mind because I know you are a master soul. I know you are a teacher. And you're helping me understand more patience, more kindness, more grace. I get to be more patient with you because I trust so deeply in the source of all things. I trust so deeply that you are a master being come forward to help me as much as you are trying to help yourself and on your own journey, and I am grateful to you for that. What more beauty can you find in the world? There's more to it than that. I don't have any questions, so I can't really answer anybody, but that's just kind of the things that I've been mulling over in my head, experiencing this week with my clients, with my friends who are having these, little difficulties, struggles in their own mind, in their own heart, with their children who they love so dearly. And the reason you're having such a difficult time is just because you love them so much. You don't want to lose them. You don't want them to suffer, and that's a beautiful thing. But there also must be a little bit of contrast in their life for them to become those beautiful butterflies that you see in your mind and heart, that you know they are capable of being. So that's the balance. That is the balance, right? That's always the balance of life. It's right there. But at the end, knowing fully in your heart that this beautiful circle is who they truly are. They are not body, they are not spirit, they are not sad, they are not happy. They are the totality of life. They are God in expression. Right? Going back to the poem, let's reiterate it. Your children will not be your children. They are the sons and the daughters of the beginning. They will come through your womb, but not be coming from you. They will be with you, but they do not belong to you. And so, sometimes even having the perspective that they're your soul siblings. That's always fun. I had a few sessions where in past lives, parents now happen to be partners and siblings in past lives when I was doing hypnosis sessions. So recognizing that this beautiful soul you see before you that you have so much love and reverence for, they're not your key to happiness, right? They're not your key to bliss. They're not your key to remembering that you are connected to God. You are connected to God, to Spirit. Anyways, but oftentimes we use them. We're going to go on a little tangent here because we got about 20 more minutes. I probably will stop this earlier, but you are oftentimes using your child as your reminder of your connection to the divine, as your connection to God. When you do that, it becomes this codependency. And you don't even recognize it, but you're using your child because you see them with such loving gaze that you are developing an immediate connection to your inner being, to Source. And so when bad things happen to them, in our inability to accept that, it changes our own ability to connect with our inner being, to feel that alignment with our Source. And that happens a lot more than you'd realize when you are understanding it. We use, my heart rate's way too high. We use each other, our relationships, our children, a lot of our children, as our reason for our happiness, as our reason for our joy. Because our gaze upon them is so loving that it immediately connects us with Source, right? That emotional guidance system that we've talked about so many times in previous videos. When I have this gaze of love and joy, beauty upon another, and our children are so easy with that most of the times, it immediately connects me to God, to Source, to my inner being. And so when they suffer, and we say, well, I feel their suffering, I feel their sadness. Yes, very likely you do. The mirror neurons in our brains light us up because we're empathetic, and oftentimes mothers have neurons of their babies in their bodies still, so they're feeling what's happening with the children. But going further, you still have the capacity to connect with your Source, with God, with your inner being, even when your child is experiencing discomfort. You can tell that story in your own mind. Close your mind or close your eyes and go into your heart, go into the mind and the heart. Develop this coherence and recognize, my child is still connected to God. I'm still connected to Source. Nothing is gone because they're having this discomfort. Because the discomfort is just what's happening in my own mind, my own perception of the discomfort, instead of telling myself, wow, this discomfort is going to lead them to such growth. Like, I know for sure my parents suffered deeply when I was experiencing leukemia for 7 years, wanting me to just have a normal life. I know most certainly how much my parents were suffering 2 weeks ago when I had to have this stent placed in my artery. My mom walked into the hospital room, and first thing she said was, she started to cry, and she said, "Why does this keep happening to you? Why does this keep happening to you?" Right? And she couldn't help but feel this deep compassion, this deep love, right? She wants so badly for me to be well and healthy and live the life that she sees in her own mind. And at that moment, I thought, yeah, this shit sucks. Why does this keep happening to me? But then I was able to look at it objectively, feel it, and recognize, this is another part of my curriculum to connect back to my heart, to allow things to flow openly in my heart. Sometimes things happen, and we have to accept those, right? I'm a control freak. That's why I love the law of attraction so much. Parents tend to be control freaks around their kids. You love them so deeply, you don't want them to suffer. And that shows the depth of your compassion, the depth of your love, which is so beautiful. But, yeah, I don't know if I went off tangent. I lost my train of thought. I think that's all it really had to say. You're doing a great job. As a parent, you're doing such a great job. You just have to, in order for you to feel a bit more free and open, remember that your kids are master spiritual beings. The strongest of the strong come into human form, like the strongest spiritual beings come into human form. And the strongest ones, hate to say it, oftentimes have a lot of struggle, particularly early in their life. And through that struggle, they grow and they expand and they become these beautiful master souls, right? Their physical bodies are experiencing suffering, and their soul has no other choice but to expand and become that new version of what they've asked for. And that is amazing. And you agreed to it. You agreed to be your child's parent, and your child agreed to have you as their parent. It's this symbiotic relationship. It's not happenstance. Your child is a master soul. You watching this, you are a master soul. That's why you've come upon this information. And that's that. You just have to accept that. So you have to remind yourself day by day, minute by minute, that you are a master soul. Your child is a master soul. Maybe not a master soul. Let's not get that crazy. But an advanced individual, an advanced soul, who is seeking out knowledge and wisdom and wants experience so they can grow and expand and create and reemerge into the understanding that they are too God, that they are also source, just as you are remembering. And it helps them even more if you hold your gaze upon them. Their wave gets more power when you add your own wave to it. But yet their own wave is going to have to carry to the shore. You just get to have a little bit more water added every time you have that intention behind their experience, and seeing him as this self-sufficient, powerful spiritual being capable of undertaking so many things, learning, growing, and loving. And I think now I'm just spitballing. So thank you guys for watching. I'm going to turn this off. I got 13 more minutes, 12 more minutes. I appreciate you guys for watching. I love you. Sorry for giving my unsolicited advice about parenting. I'm not a parent, but I see the wounds in a lot of my friends and clients, and I know that you guys are doing a great job. You're doing the best you can. And your kid is going to grow and expand regardless, You're doing such a good job. You're watching this video, you're doing such a good job. You're such a great parent. You're such a great mom. You're such a great dad. And you can take those principles to your everyday life too. You don't have to just apply those to your kids. It's just easier with the kids because you go, wow, I see such beauty in this child. I see such beauty in this young adult. I see such beauty in this adult. I see magnificence. I know who they are. I can see the divinity in them. And so it's such an easy thing to just go, yeah, I can see the divinity in them. Wonderful. I'm just going to hold my vision to that. And I'm not going to let their behavior sway me from my vision of their divinity. I'm not going to let my child's behavior sway me from the vision of their divinity. And I'm going to go move moment by moment. I'm going to take the inspiration within me moment by moment. And sometimes I'm going to discipline them. Sometimes I'm going to love them more than they can possibly imagine. Sometimes, I'm going to figure out how to do this as I go along, because you're a spiritual being having a human experience, and you are also learning. They're teaching you to give yourself some grace, to give yourself lots of love, because you deserve it, and that you are loved and worthy exactly as you are. You don't need to change as a parent unless you really want to be loved and worthy. You are loved and you are worthy exactly as you are, and you're beautiful and you're perfect. And that's all that I have to say on that. All right. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I will talk to you next time, maybe tomorrow. We'll see about tomorrow if I can do my cardio. If not, we'll talk soon. Love you. Be well. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.